Hi folks, HR Funk here, with a video that's been a long time coming. Way back on Veterans Day of last year, my friend Ben Crane made a trip all the way from his home down near the Ohio River to House of Pain Armament when I was having a meet and greet there. And he stopped in, we spent quite a bit of time that day together, and he gave me some help with Private Chewy, that's always good. But before he left, he gave me several boxes of Precision 22 ammunition to use for a test in my 1022 Enhanced. And some of you may recall this was a winter project a couple of years ago. I started out with a base 1022 and I made various changes to it. It now has a Tactical Solutions 10X barrel on it. It has an improved trigger. It has a new scope. It has a new stock. And I thought it might be fun, rather than just running all this ammunition strictly through the Enhanced 1022, to make this a competition between the 1022 and my Ruger Precision Rimfire. I've done some shooting with both of these. I've not shot them both extensively, but I thought this would be a pretty fun test. And when I get out to the range and I start to shoot these, what I'm going to be doing is looking at group size. And I think I probably have to give a little bit of an explanation here, because it seems like whenever I do this, I get some people that come into the comments section and they'll say, well, this firearm or that firearm had more shots that were closer to the center of the bullseye. And that might be true, but especially in a test like this, where I'm going from one type of ammunition to the next type of ammunition to the next type of ammunition, I'm really not taking the time to fine-tune the zeros to the point that I'm comfortable saying that they are perfectly set up for that ammunition at the range that I'm shooting. Now, I did make an effort to get at least a quick zero on these rifles before I shot my groups for record, and I'm shooting 5-shot groups. And what I did is shot 5 shots, during which time I was trying to, as best I could in the course of 5 shots, fine-tune my sights to the point that when I started to shoot my 5 shots for record, they were going to be at least reasonably close to the center of the bullseye. But again, I cannot say that they were absolutely perfectly tuned to the ammunition that I was shooting. So I'm going to be looking at group size with the idea that if the firearms are consistently accurate to the point that they are firing small groups with a particular type of ammunition, then all I would have to do is make a simple sight correction to bring that group to the center of the target. That's why I'm looking at group size, not group placement. I started out with the RPR when I got out to the range, and I shot all through all 6 types of ammunition with that. Then I switched over and shot the same exact progression through all 6 types of ammunition with the 1022 Enhanced. Now, as I switched from ammunition to ammunition, when I was firing that initial 5 shots where I was trying to fine-tune the sights, that also gave an opportunity for each barrel to become conditioned with that type of ammunition. A lot of rimfire shooters believe that when you switch from one ammunition to the next, you need to fire several shots through there to allow the barrel to get used to the specific lead composition and whatever lubricant might be used on those particular bullets or what have you, in order to start to fire accurate and consistent groups once you start firing for record. So I was doing that during the course of that sight adjustment. So each barrel had 5 shots of the specific ammunition that I was about to test through it before I started to shoot my record groups. The ammunition that I'm using specifically are all made by Ely, and I have Ely 22 38 grain high velocity hollow points that I started with. Then I moved to Ely Club, which is a 40 grain bullet. Next was Ely Target, which is also a 40 grain bullet. Ely Force, which is a 40 grain bullet. Ely Match, which is a 40 grain bullet. And last was Ely 10X, which is a 40 grain bullet. So lots of 40 grain bullets, and I am not conversant enough in Ely ammunition to tell you specifically what is different about each of these types of ammunition. All I can say is that Ely markets them as different types of ammunition, so that's the way I shot them. Also, when we get out to the range, whenever I make a video like this, I have tons and tons and tons of range video. So much so that if I tried to incorporate it all into this video, it would make it very, very, very long and probably very boring because I'm sitting there squeezing off the 5 best shots that I can, slow fire from 2 different rifles with 6 different types of ammunition. So what I'm going to try to do in the editing process is cut this down. I think what I'll do is show the first group from each rifle, the one with the high velocity hollow point, in real time. So you'll see exactly how long that took. It's going to be a split screen. You'll be able to see me shooting and the shots impacting. Then when I fire my successive groups, I'm going to either speed it up in a fast forward type motion on the camera, or I might even just cut some of those out altogether and just show a little bit here and a little bit there to try to keep this from being a 5-hour video or something like that. After you see whatever range portion that I put in this video, we'll come back here and take a close-up look at the 2 groups. I measured my groups with calipers, digital calipers, and I measured them or computed them to the closest 5/1000th of an inch. So if it was 0.623, I rounded it to 0.625. If it was 0.621, I rounded it to 0.620. Because I really, to try to get that exactly in the center to the 1,000th of an inch is probably not possible for me just looking at it and trying to eyeball it. So I'm trying to give the rifles and the ammunition all the benefit of the doubt with a little bit of rounding. I also computed the results in minutes of angle, so we'll take a look at that. So here we go. Let's find out if my enhanced 1022, that was my winter project a couple of years ago, can keep up with the accuracy of the Ruger factory precision rimfire with all these different types of Ely precision ammo. Here we go. So first up, as I mentioned a moment ago, is going to be the Ely 38 grain high velocity hollow points. One last thing I forgot to mention before, the Ruger precision rifle has a Vortex 4 to 16 power scope mounted to it. The enhanced 1022 has a Hilux Pentalux TAC V 5 to 20 power scope. To keep this as even as I could, I set both scopes to 16 power. So I did not have the Hilux scope set at a higher magnification than I could attain with the Vortex scope. So anyway, off to the range with the high velocity 38 grain Ely hollow points. And here we go with our first two 5-shot groups. And I don't think I said this before, but I am shooting at a distance of 50 yards. And when I measure the groups, I'm measuring from center to the center of the two farthest shot holes. And when we look at these, the Ruger Precision Rimfire started out strong with a sub-minute of angle group for these first 5 shots. They measured 0.420 inches, which comes out to 0.8 minutes of angle, so sub-minute of angle. And I am rounding the minute of angle computations also to the nearest 10th minute of angle. So if you want to do the math yourself, you'll come out with a long decimal, but it rounds to 0.8 minutes of angle. So again, good 5-shot group to start things off for the Ruger Precision Rimfire. The 1022 Enhanced didn't do bad. This is 3/4 of an inch, which works out to 1.4 minutes of angle. And probably something to keep in mind is the cartridges are cycling through the action of the 1022, which is a little bit more violent experience than what they're getting with the Ruger Precision Rimfire. That might be contributing to a little bit larger group. I'm not really unhappy with either of these, but obviously the Ruger Precision Rimfire wins round 1. Next is going to be the 40 grain Ely Club. Here's what that looked like. Round 2 was the Ely match, and neither rifle really liked this load very well. The Ruger Precision Rimfire, by the way, the Ruger Precision Rimfire is always going to be on the left-hand side, 1022 is always on the right-hand side. Ruger Precision Rimfire came in at 0.925 inches, so over twice the size that we got the last time around. That works out to 1.8 minutes of angle. With the 1022 Enhanced, the group size is over an inch, 1.27 inches, which comes out to 2.4 minutes of angle. So again, the Ruger Precision Rimfire wins round 2, but neither rifle really liked that load very well. And on we go to the 40 grain Ely target. Next up are the groups with the Ely target, and this one probably unfairly handicapped the 1022. With the Ruger Precision Rimfire, the overall group size is 0.725 inches, which comes out to 1.4 minutes of angle. Decent group, a little bit more dispersion than we saw there with the 38 grain high velocity hollow point, but not bad all in all. With the Ely target, this is the one where I fired 4 shots, and I had a group that I didn't measure these for, but it would have been under an inch, probably around 3/4 of an inch, pretty close I would imagine to what we had with the 5-shot group with the RPR. But the 5th shot misfired, and I actually got several misfires with both rifles throughout all different sorts of these types of ammunition that I was using. And this one misfired once. I took it out, put it back in the magazine, rotated it to try to get the firing pin to strike a different place on the rim. It misfired a second time, so I took it out again, put it back in, turned a little bit more. It fired the 3rd time, but that was 3 times cycling through the action, and who knows exactly what was going on with that cartridge. I should have just grabbed a new one, but I didn't. So as it turned out, this ended up being an even 1-inch group, center to center with the 1022. That works out to 1.9 minutes of angle. So the RPR won round 3, but I wish I had done this differently. This, again, probably wasn't really fair for the 1022 this time around. Next up is the 40 grain force. Will the force be with either one of these two rifles? Let's find out. Next is the force, and the force really was with both rifles this time around. With the Ruger Precision Rimfire, we had another sub-minute of angle group. This measured 0.365 inches, which comes out to 0.7 minutes of angle. Nice tight group. In fact, 4 of them are forming basically one hole, and one shot just made it outside of that group. Over here, we again have 4 shots forming one hole from the 1022, and one shot opened this group up. Truthfully, this could have been my fault. It looked good when the shot broke or when the trigger released, so I don't think I did anything wrong here, but that one really bothers me. Overall group size 0.860 inches, which comes out to 1.6 minutes of angle. So again, the Ruger Precision Rimfire wins. On we go to the Ely match. Ely match was the next load, and the Ely match seemed a little bit erratic in both rifles. With the Ruger Precision Rimfire, I had a group measuring 0.645 inches, and we can see some stringing here both vertically and horizontally. Coming over to the 1022, again, it's just sort of all over the place there. With the 1022, the group measures 0.9 inches, so 1.2 minutes of angle with the Ruger Precision Rimfire, 1.7 minutes of angle with the 1022. The Ruger Precision Rimfire wins again, but this is another load that, for a match load, neither one of these rifles liked it all that well. And last but not least is the Ely 10X. And the final matchup of the day has two very different reactions. The Ruger Precision Rimfire, again, liked this load a lot and put 5 shots into 0.450 inches. I think this is the 3rd sub-minute of angle group that I fired throughout. So fully half the loads, or excuse me, half the groups with the Ruger Precision Rimfire were sub-minute of angle. This one came out to 0.9 MOA and a nice tight 5-shot group there. The 1022 hated this load, and this group ended up measuring 1.725 minutes of angle, and we can see 3 shots down here, but then these flyers really opened things up, and these were not me. As you've seen throughout all the shooting that I did here, nothing was looking like this. That group a while back where there was one down here, I wondered if maybe that could be me, but these were definitely not. These were good trigger breaks. The sight didn't move. These were just flyers from that rifle. It absolutely hated that load. So in the end, the Ruger Precision Rimfire had an average group size for all 6 groups of 0.59 inches, which comes out to 1.1 minutes of angle, so just over 1 MOA is what it averaged for 6 different groups with 6 different types of ammunition. That is outstanding accuracy. The 1022 had an average group size of 1.1 inches, which comes out to 2.1 minutes of angle, so just over 2 minutes of angle. And for a semi-auto rifle, that's probably not all that bad. It's not keeping up with the bolt action Ruger Precision Rimfire, but maybe this wasn't a fair contest to begin with, because had I been comparing semi-auto to semi-auto or bolt action to bolt action, the differences in the group sizes might not have been nearly as dramatic. But I'm actually coming out of this very, very impressed with the Ruger Precision Rimfire. I was impressed with it before, but this is the first test of this type that I've done, and that's outstanding. And by the way, thanks to Ben Crane for donating the ammunition that I used in this test. So there you go, folks. That's going to do it for my Ruger Rimfire Shootout. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you have any questions or comments, make sure you forward those to me. Remember, if you purchase anything from Optics Planet, be sure to use my discount code, which is... And if you use that discount code, it's good for 7% off your purchase from Optics Planet. And don't forget House of Pain. You can go to House of Pain Armament or House of Pain Munition, and for either one, you can use my discount code there, which is HRFUNK, and that'll save you some money off your purchase from House of Pain. And lastly, don't forget Targets Online. Go to Targets Online, check out their inventory, and see if they have anything that's going to meet your target needs. See you next time, folks. And until then, good shooting. Bye-bye.